a freshman at New Paltz Senior High School. Kelly McElroy has performed most recently as Adriana in Shakespeare's The Comedy of Errors, as well as starred in the middle school's production of Peter Pan. She was also part of the stage crew in the New Paltz High School production of Big Fish. Kelly also participates in multiple clubs, such as Pride Alliance and the Garden Club. Let's welcome up Kelly McElroy.
Wow, it's going to be hard to finish this off. Okay. So we started this off with students, so it's only right to end it with another. I'd like to ask you before I begin, what makes a good teacher? What makes a good school? Is it possible to accurately portray either with a test score? To me, a good teacher is someone who personalizes their lessons. Someone who takes time to sit down with students who aren't as quick to understand a subject. Someone who recognizes that every student processes differently, and that sometimes it will take a little elbow grease to get a concept across. To me, a good school is where there are options, where a student can decide if they want to go with the flow or push their limits with an AP class, where there are musicals, workshops, where there are art programs for those who are more artistically gifted. A good school is where there are accommodations made for different learning styles and gifts. Accommodations for those who might be a little challenged in a subject, or for those who exceed expectations and need something more challenging. A teacher, a school, and a student can't be accurately represented with a test score. A test score doesn't tell you about the personalization that a teacher puts into their lessons, into their students. A test score doesn't tell you about what goes on in day-to-day life. For example, good stress versus bad stress. A test score can't tell you what kind of pressure the student is under at the time of the exam, but I can tell you that it can cause a lot of that. There is so much stress forced on students for state tests that don't even matter for our education. It's a load of bad stress too. Good stress motivates, and bad stress tears people up on the inside. Good stress to me is musicals. I hit a rough spot in 8th grade where my grades in algebra took a huge dive. However, I got the lead as Peter in Peter Pan. It was such an honor, and I was motivated to bring my grades back up with a little encouragement from my mom. I'll get back to this in a bit because I have a lot more to say on the arts, but first I have more to say about stress and testing. Bad stress to me was the ridiculous amount of anxiety I felt for state tests. I was going to be tested for 3 days on a single subject, and then another 3 for a different subject, and scored between a 1 and a 4 on each. Now, I usually scored in the 3s, if not in the 4s, but it never counted. It didn't go on a final transcript. It didn't impact my GPA. In fact, the only person who was impacting was my teacher. In fact, it was the startling revelation that drove me to opt out in 7th and 8th grade. Knowing that my score can negatively impact my teacher terrified me. I could be having a really bad day on the day of the test. Perhaps I didn't get enough sleep the night before. Perhaps my beloved hamster died that morning. Perhaps my true love broke up with me right before the test, because you know how middle schoolers are. Everyone's done all. There's so many factors that play into performance that I wasn't willing to risk it. Thinking back on it, I'm proud of my decision, and I wish I could opt out of high school tests too, but I can't. So. Something that really worries me is how people view the tests. Students don't know how it affects their teachers. We just see it as another test. I only knew the truth about it because my own mom is a teacher. Many of my fellow students see it as a joke. They know it doesn't count towards anything that impacts them negatively, so some purposely put the wrong answers. Parents see state tests as practice for regents. As someone who's taken the regents and suffered through that lovely thing, I can tell you it's really not the same. It's not preparing you for much. So I said I'd get back to the arts, and now I will. Ever since I was little, I was involved in some aspect of theater, even if I was just sitting in the audience to support my fellow friends. As was mentioned in my bio, I recently performed Shakespeare, and I do every summer. I also mentioned how I was in Peter Pan, and I'm taking art classes such as creative crafts, and I hope to do pottery, ceramics, and other things next year too. Theater and other art forms have become so important to me and to other teenagers too. We need ways to express our creativity and release stress, and it helps us connect, and otherwise we're hermits. So, due to a recent lack of funding, theater and art classes could go away. Well, not could, as you heard, they will if something's not done about it. When it's gone, it is gone for good. There is no bringing them back when these programs are deleted. And that's because they're being replaced by tests. This funding that could be going into productions and the arts, things that we'd really enjoy, are instead going towards test administrations. So, let me ask you again. What makes a good teacher? What makes a good school? Is it possible to accurately portray either with a test score? I really hope the answer is no. I hope you see that there is no possible way that a teacher, school, or student can be accurately represented by a test score. I am more than just a number. We are all more than just a number. Thank you.